Greetings and welcome to part 3 of my introduction to Linux. This will be my last part. In the previous video we finished up with my file management commands. Those are all very important, and once you finish with my videos you'll move on to the next set of videos and then the set after that, and they will require a bit more advanced things, but these commands that I'm showing you will become almost second nature because you will use them on a very constant basis. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is going to be the file system tree. This file system tree is organized in a very common sense manner, and it's like a hierarchy system, like a ranking system, kind of like our military. So all the files are organized in a hierarchy, and we think of this hierarchy like a tree, with the main trunk being the root directory, which is noted by /, and every directory and subdirectory branching off of it, which gives you something that would look kind of like this. We got the root directory up here, noted by /. Next we have the parent directories. In the previous video, our parent directory that we was in was actually var, and we had subdirectories branching off of that. We actually made a subdirectory in the last video, and we called it bin, which was my name. And then of course you could also have files branching off of each one of these, files branching off this one, files branching off of this one, and so on and so forth. And this can go on infinitely. We can continue to see more subdirectories branching off these subdirectories and directories branching off those, and you can theoretically get very, very large trees going on if that is necessary. If it's not necessary, then there's no need to do it. Then we got path names and shortcut symbols. So there are two types of path names, and depending on the program you're in is the path names that you should use when talking about or giving commands about these files that you're trying to access. So there's absolute path names, and then there are relative path names. Absolute path names start at the root directory and they end with the current folder that you're in. So they will always start with a /, then directory, /directory, /directory, and however many more directories you may have, and then the last name would be the folder that you're in. So if you have a folder in the root directory, it would just be / the folder you're in. And if it was just / then a parent directory, and the folder was in your parent directory, it would be / parent directory, / then your folder. And then relative path names only start at the current directory you're working in and then end with the current folder. So they're normally just one directory / the folder. Alright, and the path name shortcut symbols. You've actually seen a few of these, but I've not necessarily explained to you what they are until now. But the current directory shortcut symbol is just a period. So if you ever wanted to change the directory to the current directory you're in, let's say that you are inside of a folder inside of the current directory, and you just want to go back to the current directory and see all the folders that you have to work with, you just hit cd space period. To go back to the parent directory, which may include your current directory, to go back to the parent directory, it's just cd space 2 periods. To go back to the home directory, it's just going to be cd space tilde, and then to go back to the root directory, it's going to be cd space /, which I have said many times. And then obviously the directory you want to get to isn't any of these shortcuts. You just hit cd space and then the name of that directory, as long as it's within the current directory that you're working in. So now we have syntax for commands. Syntax for commands is important to keep from getting errors. You may type something in that you want the computer to do, and you may get an error. And it could very well be the syntax of your command. So all commands follow this very specific syntax. The $sign is already there. If you remember in my previous videos, in the terminal, the $sign is there. And then your blinking cursor is going to be next to the $sign. So you type in your command, You have a space, then your options, and we've not gone any further than that. But eventually, as you get to more complicated commands, more complicated things you want to get done in your terminal, with these commands, you're going to have options. You're going to have specify certain files, specify certain arguments, and there can be as many arguments as you would like for some commands. It ends up just being like this giant long list of commands. Normally forming programs and stuff is where the giant long lists of arguments come into play. So definitely keep this syntax in mind as you move on to more advanced things in Linux. And I thank you very much. I will show you my references, and I've enjoyed making these videos for you guys. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and I hope that you have much success with the Linux and Unix operating system in the future. And again, my name is Benjamin Martin. Goodbye.